Welcome to Early Morning Catechism. I'm Sister Elise. This is the week of October 7th, and it is an extremely important week in the life of the Church. We celebrate this week on October 11th, a very special anniversary. Thursday, October 11th will be the 50th anniversary of the beginning of the Second Vatican Council. The Second Vatican Council was an extremely important moment in the life of the Church. It changed things very dramatically. Now, I'm old enough to have lived in the Church before the Second Vatican Council, and so I have a living memory of what life was like before the Second Vatican Council and of the life of the Church after the Council. Many people, when they hear about the Second Vatican Council, they think, well, yes, that's when everything changed, and now the altar is turned around and the Mass is in English instead of Latin. And so people generally think of some liturgical changes, and that's about it. But actually, the Vatican Council renewed the life of the entire Church. During the time that I was growing up, there was kind of a suspicion that the world is a dangerous place. And in the Church, you're safe, you're healthy, you're happy. Heaven is in front of you. But the world is evil and sinful, and it can lead you astray. And so we heard stories about saints who left the world to give their life to God. The Council reversed all of that. The Council began through the wisdom of a very great pope, probably one of the greatest popes we've ever had, Pope John the 23rd. Pope John became pope in 1958 after the death of Pope Pius XII. He was rather elderly, and there was kind of an unofficial feeling among the cardinals that he's a nice old man, he's a gentle person, he'll be a good interim pope, and that'll give us time to think of who could really lead the Church. Well, weren't they surprised when Pope John said, let's open the windows and let the fresh air in? And it was he who came up with the idea that it was time for the Church to renew itself. And since then, there has been a great, great renewal in the Church. The Council began in the fall, October 11th, 1962, and it went for 4 years. Every autumn, the cardinals and the bishops of the Church met, and during that time, they wrote, yes, they wrote this. Don't be afraid when you see the size of this book. They wrote 16 documents. Pope John actually died in June of 1963, so he was present for only one of the 4 sessions of the Council. The Council was comprised of 2,860 bishops. It was called an ecumenical council. Ecumenical means worldwide. So bishops from all over the world, from every country and diocese, were present for this council. Our Diocese of Green Bay was represented by Bishop John Grellinger. He was our auxiliary bishop, and he took the place of Bishop Stanislaus Bona, who was very sick at that time. Bishop Grellinger today has died, and he is buried in the cemetery at St. Mary's Parish in Little Bear Creek, Wisconsin. On the back of his tombstone are printed the words, Council Father of Vatican II. What were the outcomes of this council? Briefly, there was a great transformation in the ministry of the church. The church was no longer run just by priests and sisters. Many, many people became involved in ministry. Our liturgies became more understandable, more relevant, more dynamic. There was a great renewed interest in sacred scripture. Think of how many books have been written, how many classes have been conducted on sacred scripture. There was an outreach to all humanity, and there was a growth in an interest in social justice and in activity related to social justice. So now the church, instead of being separated from the world, was highly involved in the world. We found Jesus Christ present in all peoples, in all nations, in all endeavors throughout the world. And we felt a need to respond to people all over the world, to bring the gospel to them. I would recommend a nice little book. I know it is available in bookstores. It's called Vatican II Today. This is a very nice, concise book, but it really describes the changes that took place in the church. It's edited by Judy Ball and Joan McCamey. It's a series of essays on Vatican II. I'm sure you would enjoy this good reading.